right, today we are going to do some division with remainders. And as we learned yesterday, a remainder is the amount left over when a number cannot be divided equally. Remember that? Okay. So we're going to use our counters here in just a second, but let's read our question first. Erica and two friends are playing a game of dominoes. There are 28 dominoes in the set. Erica wants each player to receive the same number of dominoes. Can she divide them equally among 3 players? Why or why not? So let's take our highlighter and let's figure out what our question is. Say it with me. Can she divide them equally among the 3 players? Who can tell me the number she's going to be dividing equally? Morgan? Okay, what's the number she's going to divide equally by 3? I'm talking to you. The 28 dominoes. So the 3 is because it's Erica and her 2 friends. So we're going to see if it's going to be equal between the 3. So it says you can use division to find the number of dominoes that each player will receive. It says to use 28 counters to represent your 28 dominoes. Then draw 3 circles to represent the 3 players. They kind of already started that for you, right? Okay. So then it says share the counters equally among the 3 groups by placing them in the circles. So you're going to get out 28 counters. They're not going to fit in these 3 circles. You need to make 3 piles on your desk. 28, count them out equally, please. All right, who can tell me how many circles you had in each one of your groups? Get it in? 9. So since they already drew one, that's already going to be counted as 1. So we'll get 9 in each one. Now, did we have any remainders? I hear yeses. How many remainders did we have? 1. So all you need to do is draw that down here somewhere. Okay? So it says to find the number of counters that are in each group and the number of counters that are left over and record our answer. So how many were in each group? 9. So you'll write that in down here. And how many were left over? 1. Yes, Brayden, do you have a question? Okay. So this is what your picture should look like. You took your 28 counters, you divided them with 3 circles or 3 groups, and you found that you had 9 in each group with 1 left over, which is what we call the remainder. That's what we're concentrating on today. Go to the next page, please. We have a couple more questions to answer about what we just did. So it says, how many dominoes does each player receive? 9 dominoes. So we're going to do that with our label. And how many dominoes were left over? 1 domino. No yes. Now you're going to explain how the model helped you to find the number of dominoes each player received, and then also why is 1 counter left outside the equal groups. So talk to your group for just a second about how that model helps you to find the number of dominoes each player receives, and why is there 1 outside of the group.
And kept going until it was only 6 1 left. If we gave it to like this one, that would be fair because he gets in.
I know, but that makes it what if 1 has 10 and the other 2 have 9? So when we're doing this, they have to see this. All right, who thinks they can tell me how this model helped you? Think about what you did. Elena? How did it help you?
It helped me
Okay, but what did you count them out into? No, not 9 groups. How many groups did we start with? 3 groups. So you can see your 3 groups. You can actually act out the problem, put your counters in those 3 groups, and is it easier to see how many are going to be there? Okay, so we're going to say something along the lines of the model helped me act it out. So act out the problem. By placing counters in each group until there was an uneven amount. One really long sentence. The model helped me act out the problem by placing counters in each group until there was an uneven amount. That would then tell us our remainder. It makes it really easy to count them when they're already acted out in a group right in front of us. The model helped me act out the problem by placing counters in each group until there was an uneven amount. Now, sometimes you may not come up with a remainder. Sometimes the number you are dividing into groups will be even. Since we're working on remainders today, what are we probably going to see? A lot of uneven groups or unequal groups. You're probably going to have some leftovers, what we call the remainder, because that's what the page is focusing on today. Until there was an uneven amount. All right, this next part says to use counters to represent a set of 28 dominoes. You just did that, right?
Yeah.
How many players can play dominoes if each player receives 9 dominoes? So how many players can receive the 9 dominoes? Aiden? 3 players. So now we're kind of turning it around. Instead of asking how many dominoes they get, we're asking how many players can get the 9 dominoes. The second question says, will any of the dominoes be left over if I have 28? Kenzie? Yes. So can you tell me why? Okay. Exactly. So knowing what our multiplication problems are helps us to know that there's going to be 1 left over. Some of you probably already knew this answer before you got out your 28 counters and put them in 3 groups, correct? Because you know that 9 times 3 is 27 and there will be 1 left over. So we're going to say yes because 28 cannot be divided equally We could add to that there would be 1 domino left over, but I think we've gotten that out of everything we've already done. So you have 3 players that will receive 9 dominoes, and there will be 1 domino that nobody will get because it is not even. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one down here. When a number cannot be divided evenly, the amount left over is called what? Remainder. Talked about it all morning, yes? And even yesterday when we talked about our vocabulary. So, you're going to use your counters to find 39 divided by 5. So, how many counters are you going to use? 39. You're going to share the counters equally among? 5 groups. The number of counters left over will be the remainder. They have a little picture already drawn for you, so once you get that all set up with your 39 counters, you'll need to put them in there. Now, I'm not sure if all of you will have 39 counters. Well, I guess we'll see. So start putting them into groups of 5. We all should have had enough counters, correct, to make 39?
Yeah.
All right, so who can tell me what they had in each one of their circles? This time they didn't draw one for you. Braden? 5. Are we agreeing with him?
No.
Hey, you have to count out your 39 into 5 groups. When you've done that, you're going to count what's in each one of the groups. So what do we have in there, Cheyenne? 7. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
All right, so you should have 7 circles in each one. Hopefully yours will look better than mine. Try to do it quickly. Now, did they fit equally or did we have a remainder? All right, what was our remainder? 4. So you can just put them down here somewhere outside of your groups. So, for 39 divided by 5, the quotient would be what? Remember, this is our answer. So, what was in each group, Morgan? 7. And the remainder is 4. Now, look at how they wrote it down here. Do you see that? 7 with an R, 4. That stands for 7, remainder 4. That's how you will write them on the next page. Okay, so it's going to give you a problem. It's going to tell you to do the things you need to do, and then you're going to write it like I just circled down there. Okay, does everybody see how that's going to work? All right, flip the page again then. If you do not have your picture, you'll need to come back to get the picture. Some of you took a long time to get your counters where they needed to be. So here's what you're looking at. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this. You can use your multiplication facts, and you can do this in your head and tell me what's going to be left over. I'm okay with that. If you are one of those people that is a struggle for you, what does it tell you to do up here? Use counters to find the quotient and the remainder. Now, before I start on this, I want to show you the different ways that these division problems are written. Now, how many of you have seen both of these ways? Okay, good, because you're going to need to know what number to look at to know how many counters you're going to use or what number is going to be the largest. So you're used to seeing something like number 1, right? 10 divided by 3. That's what we've seen all morning. Look at number 5. Do you see how different it is? This is what they call the division box. They're going to put the number of whatever you're using, counters, dominoes, books, whatever they're dividing up, in the center of that box. And then your divisor is out on the side, right? Yeah. So dividend is in the middle, divisor is on the outside, okay? In these, your dividend is first, your divisor is second. Does everybody understand the differences between those? You're not going to do anything different. It's still the same exact problem. It's just written differently, okay? So be able to see both of them because you'll see both of them as we go along. So when you found your answer for 10 divided by 3, you're going to write it here just like we had down here that's circled. That's how I want to see it. Again, if you are one of those people that doesn't need your counters, you can do it in your head. I'm okay with that. But if you start missing a bunch, I'm probably going to have you use your counters. Okay? Yes? All right. Go ahead and work on 1, 2, 3, and 4 with your group, please, and we're going to talk about a few of them. Who would like to explain what you did for number 1? Just tell me out loud what you did, Morgan. So you're counting by what? 3s, okay? So 3 groups, and then what'd you end up with after that? Okay, so she's saying 3 groups of 3, so she knows it's 3 groups of 3, and there's going to be a remainder of 1. Do we agree with that? Yes. Okay, who can tell me what they did for number 2? Cheyenne?
We did 5 times 5.
Okay.
5, so 5 remainder 3.
So there would be then 3 left over. You see how they're doing that? They're using their multiplication facts. 5 times 5 is 25, and there'll be 3 left over. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
So for those of you who like to use counters, this is easier.